What's going on, my guy? I'm pretty good, honestly. A little bit sleep deprived because I was at a show last night. But overall, it's a beautiful day. Just chilling. Got some great guitar tones. It was crazy, actually. I was at this rave yesterday, where there was this one dude doing live guitar over top of this beautiful electronic music set. It's insanely inspiring. That's a vision that I've had, that I want to take my electric guitar. You actually have the same Jackson, and just shred over top of electronic music. It's a super inspiring experience. How are you, my friend? Yeah, I gotta kind of find that tone. Welcome to this live stream. What's going on? Geronimo. That's a dope name. Word. Thank you so much, brother. That's the thing. It's a beautiful circle of inspiration. Like, yeah, let's go. Appreciate you, dog. Like, straight up, that's actually kind of part of the video I was speaking to yesterday that I released about. Man, I really feel there's there's so much to be said about understanding our relationship with inspiration. I know I spoke about it briefly, but I really feel it's like, for those of us that are able to really cultivate a really healthy relationship with inspiration, that is, we're in this place where, say you see a phenomenal guitar player just shredding, and you see that, you understand how possible that is, that you can get to there one day. It's really just a mentality. An instance is a matter of time. It's beautiful. I've recently been rewatching Attack on Titan. And man, that anime is just mind blowing. Just every little part about it. Hit my preamp. Uno momento. There we go. Let's see if I can weave together what I was doing yesterday. I imagine I can easily. Bro, what inspiration, what inspiring you? Am I thinking while playing? That's an interesting thought. Man. I'd say quintessentially, usually what I'm thinking about is almost trying to access a particular emotion, seeing it's almost like, it's easy to get in the mind where the mind's trying to intellectualize things, or trying to maybe almost like focus on technique, which is not a bad thing quintessentially, but I try to almost like tap into the emotional context of the music. I talk about this a lot, where it's like, say if you're just striking a single chord, or say you go to like a chord, right? Because, often cases, surely it's like, in some instances, if you're just songwriting and you want to just like challenge yourself and find or achieve different creative ideas, then you can kind of look at it as a more like technical, intellectualized approach. But a lot of what I find when I do is I literally am just trying to like, I'm trying to access the emotion behind it. Just be like, feel every little note. And then say it's like you desire to engage. For me, pan flute is a really effective way of accessing very particular emotions, where it's like, say I'm here, and it's just like, it's like emotions that maybe aren't even just on the surface. Like, that's the idea, is like, a lot of music, I feel, at least that I'm very attracted to, is I'm trying to sort of access emotions that are sort of beneath the surface, emotions that are just like woven in a sort of narrative that the music is speaking to. So like right there, it's like, suddenly, as I'm accessing like an atonal harmonic, right, it's like I'm kind of moving from the standard. This is having like an emotional context that just arises. emphasizing expression over trying to, say, be over technical. And I feel actually you can see a lot of musicians like Andy McKee. He does an extraordinary job. You can see actually when he's playing, like when he's playing Violin or like various of his songs like Art of Emotion, you can see that he's feeling every note. Like he's playing all these beautiful, just beautiful chord and arpeggiated chords, and you can see he's just vibing. He's just having fun. He's just like every chord and every note. He's just like, you can see he's just having fun, but you can see his expression is inflecting what he's feeling, and he's letting that be sort of the core part of the guitar experience, where he's just vibing. He's allowing it to just be a natural. Yeah. Of course, brother. What's going on, Iman? Iman Rafiq. It's interesting. It's kind of, again, very sleep deprived today, but feeling good. Honestly, being sleep deprived doesn't stop me from streaming. Like I find I just like, or just playing guitar, and that's actually something I've spoken about pretty frequently. Usually after I go to a rave and I'm up like till like 5 in the morning or whatever. But it's like, for real, brothers, it's like the means of just playing, like just engaging in creative dimensions, even when you're sleep deprived. This is actually a whole nother thing that I find, it's a whole nother dimension that I think is really important and valuable to understand. And the simplest, right, it's literally just like, just because you're sleep deprived, or maybe you're stressed, or maybe you find yourself just not naturally motivated or inherently motivated to, say, pick up a guitar or just like do the thing, right? This is a whole nother sort of skill set you can exercise. I'm basically playing guitar sleep deprived. I find out actually often, more than not, I discover very unique pathways and make very unique choices when I am sleep deprived. Get more Rosen in there. I hope you guys are having an awesome day so far. It's Sunday. Word. Yeah, have a blessed Sunday. This here. For that. Word. That's awesome, brother. I Yeah, that's valid, bro. I mean, I feel in essence what I notice is guitar for me has been like it's literally been like my original, it's like my safe space, right? Like for me it's like I I feel like for a lot of things in life, I like strive to sort of develop these things, but sometimes, I have to sort of like build momentum. But for guitar, it's kind of like it's an innate safe space where literally I can just default into it. If I'm just like chilling on a film set, sleep deprived, or performing, maybe busking, or wherever I find myself, I can trust that even if I'm not in the best mentality, and actually speaking to that, even if I've had like the worst days of my life, that guitar is always the thing that I will just default to. Like literally, I'll just be like, I'll have days where I just don't feel like going on, like just like existence feels like it's very heavy, and then I'll literally just the one thing that will bring me back. Dance is actually very similar, but guitar for some reason, I swear, bro, it's like it's almost like the level of catharsis you can get from guitar, particularly with any instrument, I imagine, maybe singing if that's your thing, is like if I'm having like a really bad day and I'm really just like I don't want to do anything, if I pick up the guitar, what I find happens is every note feels even deeper. It penetrates me even deeper. Like it's literally just like on the deepest level. And I actually had a stream where I was streaming when I had a bad day, and I was actually showcasing where I was feeling every note. Every note was just like I could just feel it to the deepest core of my being, and it was healing. It was like it felt like it was like even if having the best day of my life, the worst day of my life, I trust the process of engaging in the guitar, and that I think that's powerful once you get to that place. It's just like no matter what goes on in your life in the world, it kind of brings you back. It like puts things in perspective where you're like, oh word, like the world may be crazy, the world may be fucked up, life may be an intense experience, but I have this. Like it's like I can transmute this raw energy and emotion into something. I think that's very important as humans and as creatives, right? It's like having that safe space and that creative space. And I'm sure that I can sense that artists like Marcin or Alexander Misko or a lot of these like higher tier guitarists, 1,000%. You can see it's almost like what I recognized a while ago for people like prodigies like Marcin, etc. To get to that level where they're so devoted to their instrument, like they're so dedicated that they've literally spent like hours and hours and hours and hours a day, like several hours a day, without a doubt, they have accessed something, like they've connected with this instrument on such a level that you can see it's no longer even like a choice or a question, like should I play this instrument, should I like take this to new dimensions. It's like they have no choice because they've realized it's like it's a part of their being. It's literally like a natural extension of how they are, where it's like similar to what I just spoke to. It's like they know that in the best or the worst of mentalities, or they're having the best day of their life, they're feeling empowered, they're feeling whatever they're feeling, there's always going to be a way that they can channel that and transmute that raw energy into the guitar or whatever their chosen instrument is. And these are just people that have realized this over many years and then just honed that, refined that. They just dialed that into Pan flute's an interesting one, like straight. But yeah, I really feel like something I've thought about a lot is like, I mean, my life's not perfect by any means, naturally. Like, I feel like I still have a ways to go. But I've realized a long time ago that I've sort of seen these little subtle blips of what I think is happiness, like what translates into true long-term happiness. And I'll be honest, brothers, like I find it sometimes it's like some days I literally just feel like I would be super happy literally just playing guitar in a remote oasis, just some beautiful forest or mountain village, just chilling, writing music, right? Just connecting, with my partner. We just like chill in the forest, and it's like I feel like life is very beautiful in the simplicity. And when you recognize that which allows you to like root yourself in the simplistic, it's almost like if you think, because I realized it's like I would be really happy, yeah, just being in a remote place, playing guitar, writing songs for the rest of my life. Like, I live in modern 2025. We live in a complex, nuanced society, and that's okay. Like this world is beautiful. I embrace this reality, but I think yeah, I would be super happy just like playing guitar for the rest of my days, just chilling. But it's also beautiful to see what do you imagine when you were playing, when I hear your music. That's dope. That's so dope. I love hearing I invite that sort of visual landscape. It's interesting. I'm often not a visual person unless I'm meditating or trying to like evoke lucid dreaming, but man, typically like when I write certain songs, especially vocal pieces, usually what I see is like ethereal stuff, like beings of like kind of like light, kind of like astral bodies, like weird things that are just kind of like it's things you'd see in like a DMT trip or a dream. Usually like yeah, like that's kind of what I think I'm inspired by. It's like I used to write music, like I've written lots of music where I will root myself in the human experience, where it's like, I'll play super dope like punk rock and metal and electric guitar. I'm just like shredding and rocking out, right? And that's fun. That's beautiful. It's like honoring the human experience. But definitely the more that I've seen myself um access my highest expression of self, it for some reason looks more like an astral experience, like an experience that's not rooted in the human. There's no human experience that is present, where it's more so like it's like I'm kind of just accessing some sort of ancient energy, or it's like I'm trying to maybe depict some sort of dimension of nature or the divine nature. That just for some reason is what speaks to me. Like I don't even. It's like it's funny where it's like it's not like I consciously made a lot of choice. I mean, I was attracted to the pan flute. I've always been attracted to like meditative realms of instruments, but it's almost like I swear it's like I hit a point where for many years I was just writing music. I was just figuring out what works. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna do it all. And for some reason, what lasted the test of time is what I'm doing right now. Is like the style of music that I do is just the most resonant with me. Similar to what I was speaking of, like when I say I have the worst days of my life, where I'm like, damn, life is crazy. Existence feels heavy. The few things that bring me back are these dimensions of music, like these meditative, almost like sound journey type domains of music. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense too. Like I think it makes sense in essence where a lot of us, I feel, philosophically, we're disconnected, right? Like we're in a place where we we desire connecting with nature, like returning to the natural context. So it's like, I have not. It's funny, I travel a lot inwardly. Like I've kind of thought of this a lot, but part of my intention with, being a full-time YouTuber is I desire to literally just travel everywhere. Like go, if I'm like, word, I'm just gonna go to Thailand or go to Peru or go to Paris. I want to just at the drop of a hat, just go there and connect with the creative communities and perform and stuff. So, but yeah, I've been to Hawaii when I was younger. I went to California a couple times, but a lot of time I just spend all my time in BC, but I travel again inward a lot, where I go in forests, do lots of shrooms, do changa, and I notice those take me on completely immersive journeys where I almost, it feels like I go on these journeys and then I return, and often that's, yeah, what translates. These microtones though. But in truth, yeah, I desire deeply to travel, particularly because I just love culture. Like I'm really a fan of different cultures, and the extension of that, the people. Especially too, I enjoy different women of different cultures. Like very much, it's like I've just historically the women that I've dated have been just like that are just like from different parts, like Romania or Ukraine. I mean, I'm Ukrainian, but it's like there's just different realms of cultures that I find myself enamored with. Like it's literally just like the more I explore different cultures and I understand what they are, it makes me also appreciate my culture more, like the Canadian sort of uprooted culture. But man, there's some beautiful cultures out there in different parts of the world, and that excites me, that intrigues me a lot. Not bad. Not bad for sleep deprived. It's funny, I find when trying to like improvise and like perform sleep deprived, it seems like it's always like I just default into my repertoire of what I know very well, and it's beautiful because it's like I just kind of I just root myself in that. But yeah. Yeah. I swear, it's like a world of thought that just thinking about inspiration. Man, like I'm excited to just unravel that concept. Because I think when I understand it, like I've spoken about when I was younger, right? I was really into like Disturbed and like a lot of like beautiful metal rock artists, progressive rock, punk rock, artists that I think had very specific roles in my musical journey. Like music that it like engaged me, it really inspired me, but it also it's interesting. It just like yeah. Yeah. Forgot where I was going with that. I was thinking the simplest, right? Like understanding one's core belief about inspiration. Like again, it's something that I've noticed. It always intrigued me how many people would like hear music. I don't know if they genuinely believe this, but they'd hear a guitarist and they'd just be like, "Man, I'm just gonna throw out my guitar now," or just like, "This is impossible," and they would just like write off this very means of understanding this deeper way that they can be inspired by this music. It's almost like they just not fundamentally understand how they're personally writing their own narratives and relating to inspiration. I find another thing that I've noticed has, it's like when I think of what I personally think of, like I certainly do, I feel into the emotional context of what is present for me, and I let myself just flow into that. But I truly feel another part of what I've always found myself really attracted to when I'm playing, like when I'm improvising, is basically what I think is the core essence of improvisation is novelty. I always, what I personally find is always drawn me time again and again over the years. And I personally feel this is the core reason why I'm at where I'm at musically, is I strongly desire novelty. Like it's like if I'm gonna hear a riff or play a riff or develop a style or a song, a huge part of me wants to make it so powerfully my own. Like it's like when I hear a part of it, when I'm say playing something, I instead of just being like I can play, I want to know that there's like a million different ways that I can novelly engage in this riff. Like I can do like it's like the means of my desire to create novelty within every choice that I make creatively. I truly feel that's a very important thing to have in the back of your mind, where it's like, and then part of it too is it's not as much a conscious thought as it is a permission. Like, you just give yourself full permission to be like, I'm going to be unapologetically novel, where it's like you're not trying to play by a structure, and maybe there's a foundation or a structure that you create when you're new, but not really good into genres. Word. I mean, technically what I play like a mix of a lot of things I consider, but what I'm technically is I'm progressive rock. Like, that's kind of what my friends and with the music we listen to, it's like Andy McKee, like Tim Henson-esque. It's like progressive rock, but personally, I'm very influenced from like classical, almost like classical elements, jazz elements. Those are like my strengths, but also I also consider what I play as gypsy style. Like, it's not even like a genre, but it's like it's a style of playing that Estas Tone. Like, I think I've talked about once or twice, but Estas Tone, if you're not familiar with him, he's like Estatastone, Estas Tone. Brilliant guitarist. He's like a nomad, busker, gypsy style guitarist, and legitimately, that's a style that I've adopted over the years. Where it's almost like, in the essence of gypsy style is literally you're basically just playing sort of in a constant state of improvisation, where you're creating almost like new inflections on everything that you've already sort of woven in. Like, if I'm going to play a riff, I'm going to, even if I play the same riff like 100 times, I'm always going to find a different way to like inflect or expand and add off of that. Alongside, I think it's just a playing that's just like very, very ancient and classical rooted and flamenco based. But it's funny, bro, because I swear, like, that's what I play when I'm like performing guitar stuff, is like progressive rock, classic, jazz, flamenco sort of style. But I also have various styles where, like, a majority of the time, I also play, like, I write music that's alternative rock, I write punk rock, I write some metal, I write some stuff that bridges into like metalcore, and like, I just write whatever feels resonant. But I think my comfort zone is definitely progressive rock, where it's like that's where I spend the most time. Like fingerstyle progressive rock. Like, if you definitely find yourself desiring to sort of like take away elements of the style that I play, it's literally like I'm just deeply inspired from fingerstyle progressive rock. And if you're to like search on YouTube or something, progressive rock artists or fingerstyle progressive rock, or acoustic guitar fingerstyle progressive rock, those kind of artists are what's definitely like set the tone. Let's go. Yeah. But deadass, like, actually, if I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a post on my YouTube where I'm just gonna post some of my core inspirations. Like, I'll just be like, post and be like, list some of the like immediate inspirations. Because I've answered that on my live streams a few times, but I think it's very, very valuable to sort of understand what I personally historically have been inspired by, and just to pass on those musicians, because there's so many amazing, like, that's the thing I cannot emphasize enough, is like, I think part of why I'm so, and I've spoken about this once or twice, why I love guitar so much, like why I found myself explored and deep dive this particular style of guitar, is there are so many extraordinary guitarists. Like, literally, this is what I think is really important to sort of like um to emulate is guitar is like an endless journey. Like it's literally like you play for 100 years, and you'll still have tons that you have to still learn, and that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Where it's like an endless rabbit hole. It's like an endless portal, and I think it's so beautiful. It's like there's certain elements of certain types of guitar that I think have such deep roots. You know, it's like there's just generations upon generations of extraordinary guitarists, and I think for some reason, fingerstyle, like acoustic guitar, it really shines in that way, where there's just like historically so many incredible genius guitar players. And I'll be honest, I think that applies to so many instruments. Like I think piano is another example of that. Violin is another example of that, where like the history is just so awesome. I see you're a very creative person. Can you draw? Is that? Oh no, that's I can't paint that. I can draw. I draw a lot of like tribal like this. I draw to like lots of tribal, and I can do like photorealism, but yeah, I've it's interesting. Art is like, especially like painting, it's something that I was really good at as a kid, and like I've explored tentatively, but I focused a lot of my energy on music. But I definitely feel there's gonna be a chapter of my life where once I'm like an accomplished musician in my 40s or something, I'm probably just gonna start like mastering art, like photorealistic. I love like drawing photorealistic landscapes. Like that's kind of my thing. Is like paintings of like nature and mountains and like and just basically nature. But yeah, that painting is yeah, bro, this is let me grab this one. This is a visionary artist actually from who are they? Yeah, Tyler, what is that? I think Tyler Century. Yeah, Tyler Century. Beautiful piece. This is not the original naturally, but this is just like a print. But yeah, one of my favorite artists. Like for some reason I have a couple of his pieces. No, I'm by no means a good painter. I mean, I can paint stuff. I paint like trippy symbols and shapes and stuff. Usually stuff I see sort of in visions, but I'm not an accomplished painter by any means. Who knows? Maybe one day. Oh, replug this baby in. There we are. Yeah, but it's interesting. I recently, like a few months back, I was dating this one chick that, for a period where she was an incredible painter, and she basically we went and had like a picnic where we literally spent like 3 hours just painting a canvas, and man, this is the most beautiful experience. We're literally just like she brought like hundreds of different paints and different colors, and we just sat there in this beautiful like valley and just painted for hours, and like it was extraordinary. Like it was like the most beautiful experience, and she was like, this is her livelihood. Like she wanted to become an art therapist, so she was like so dedicated and in love with painting. So it was like so beautiful, where I was like sitting there playing guitar, and she's sitting there just like painting, and I'm sitting there doing this duo painting with her. And rocking out, very sleep deprived, but feeling good, rocking these sleep deprived riffs. Word. Make a stream someday and draw something you feel. That's a that's a phenomenal idea, my guy. I mean, I yeah, I'm very open to like bridging worlds of like creative worlds. Like I've often find when I'm doing like usually like Facebook streams or like on TikTok or something, or I'm like shredding electric guitar. I like to sort of like basically do freestyle tutting in between my riffs. It's almost like dancing to the music that I play. But yeah, I think that would be super dope. Like I think, because that's the thing is I think, yeah, like resonating with people that are artists or guitarists or artists like painters or drawers or yeah, illustrators, and just like being able to say just like create something, like drawing something to sort of yeah, to connect to the viewer in a unique way. That's definitely the way. Sort of rhythmic. Heck yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely found, I was sort of speaking about this earlier, where this one artist, he goes by Heathen, that was doing live guitar last night to the show I was at, or to the music at the show I was at. But in essence, it kind of just sparked in my mind. I was doing this before, actually, for a period where I was basically improvising over Atya, because Atya is very medicine-esque. And what I've sort of realized is I feel I could definitely very successfully, say if I were to do like a live set where I'm like performing or doing a DJ set for a show, I could very much play a beautiful set of this style of music and then improvise on top of it. Let's see how I can go find a song. This one should work. I don't know. It's almost like I choose a song, right? I set a backtrack and then just kind of improvise on top of it. I don't know if this will go very well at all, but something like that. It's just like taking a backtrack and creating an energy where I do like a live performance. Actually works pretty well. Better than I thought. But I think, yeah, it's like the live dynamic would rock so well. And it would be very entertaining for people to hear all those live dimensions with a backtrack. Yeah, Adia. Adia is just a visionary. Yeah, it's definitely cool just finding those kind of rows of backtracks and then letting yourself just like flow over top of it. Oof, this song is such a weird... Goes very atonal. I love this song so much. Something like that. certificate. I think there's just something so extraordinary and so impressive about just raw improv where it's like, I don't even know what's going to happen next. It's taking 100% of my brain power right now. How much do you play in a day? I mean, yeah, I've spoken with before. It hasn't always been this way, but I usually play like 4 or 5 hours a day, like as much. Usually, if I'm like sleep deprived or I'm on like a film shoot or something, some days I'll only fit in an hour or something, but it's always like, yeah, it's pretty much an hour or two a day, but if I'm like focusing guitar, then it just hits to like 4 or 5 hours a day. But I swear, it's almost like you want to like build to that, where it's like I play that many hours a day because I really want to. Like I love playing, and it's always like pure. I'm improvising. I'm expanding ideas. I'm songwriting. I'm streaming. I'm mixing it up as much as possible. But yeah, I think quintessentially an hour a day is like really good. Like an hour or two, if you can like really fit that. Like if you're, I used to work a full-time job, and like when I was working full-time jobs and being up at like 4 or 5 a.m., I would bring my guitar with me everywhere and make sure I at least got an hour or two a day. And sometimes it was like sleep deprived hour or two. But now it's like with my focus of making performance my full-time job and allowing it to translate in various ways, and I bring it to me on film sets, easily I get at least like 4 or 5 hours a day. And it's like not even hard. I think too, though, honestly, it's kind of like, again, what I think is really important to understand is it's not about the hours, the amount of hours per day. It's about the amount of intention behind when you're playing. So it's like if you can play with intention for a quantity of time, then that's amazing. But it's almost like what I do if you find like, you're playing guitar and it's just like it doesn't sound good, or you're just like, man, I can't get in a good flow. That's usually what I would do typically is I would then put down my guitar or just like pick it up, but then hop on like Ableton and then just like record voice notes and start just speaking, like conceptualizing, be like, all right, so what could I do to sharpen up my guitar playing? What elements am I maybe neglecting? Like, could I sharpen up my artificial pinch harmonics? Should I maybe, I don't know, focus my energy on tapping? Should I maybe, I don't know, look up some realms of how I can tighten up certain elements of shifting keys or something? It's almost like I like to like envision and study my guitar playing. And yeah, it's like if that allows me to even just unlock perspective on what I'm doing in my guitar playing, so that in the future I can like intuitively just play and be like, like, oh, word, that's what I needed to do to get into this fluent flow state, then that's what I'll do. But it's like, yeah, it's almost like it's good to study your own guitar playing, to be intentional when you're playing. Because when you are intentional, like when you're like, oh man, this is like exactly what I want to hear and exactly the style I want to play, then you'll literally get into flow states where you'll play for like upwards of, yeah, like 4 or 5 hours, and you'll feel like nothing because you're literally in an endless flow state where you're just like, oh yeah, there's like your mind always knows there's always more combinations and more stylings that you can integrate. Like, be if you're playing with weird chords or it's just there's always going to be little ways that you can add layers. So, yeah, intention behind the playing, even if it's like an hour a day and it's like really intentional and you're really studying your playing and you're really just like understanding what really you want to envelop in your playing. And a part of that, I truthfully feel, is some days it's good to just observe other musicians. Like, that's a powerful, really potent tool that I talk about this a lot with dance, actually, and it's the same with music. Is sometimes you just need to take a step away and just absorb different players' styles. And this is kind of what we're doing right here. Is like part of my intention of why I put my stuff out there so much. Is I desire for this to reach other guitarists who maybe have creative blocks or maybe just want to see certain elements of guitar emulated, where they're just like, oh, word, like here's a technique, here's a chord or a combo that will allow them to absorb that and then maybe allow them to make a connection on their own style, right? It's almost like you're studying guitar. It's like you're studying by listening and watching other guitarists. And if you're not studying other guitarists, then you study your own, and then it's like it should be an organic process. It's funny because like when I use that word studying me, I find I've never been organically attracted to studying per se. Where like I got pretty good grades in high school and pretty good grades in college, but I was never like enamored with studying things except for the guitar. Like, it's funny how like I've always like, yeah, I always found like studying things formally in school, like philosophy is a little bit different, but most things in school I always found it was lackluster. But guitar was the one of the few things that I was just like I could study all day long, absorb as much as humanly possible, and I would never get bored. Like, I'd always be like, this is awesome. Like, this is really interesting. Those attacks. Very nice. 105. Wow, that hour went by very fast. I swear, just time just like freezes and pauses. When these streams happen. I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take a little break soon and then take this live stream to the forests where I'll just do like a roving stream. It's just too nice of a day to just be inside. I think I'm just about getting warmed up. Those attacks, bro. I swear. I used to sort of like dread like randomly striking a note, just be like, oh shit, just like inherently, or it just by making mistakes essentially, like and letting notes ring out. But nowadays, for some reason, I notice there's something so beautiful about striking notes in random spaces. Like say you're like playing, maybe not like that, but just like finding the ability to integrate these random notes that ring out, quite essentially. I definitely need those into that. Heck yeah. Yeah, bro. Definitely. I mean, I think naturally I've been extremely attracted to violin for quite a few years now. Like I hear violin strings arrangements in my head all the time. But yeah, I think violin and cello is one that I'm really drawn to. And I've recently just started playing piano the last couple years. But yeah, I would say I'm very attracted to violin, cello, harp. Also, like jazz flute. It's strange. It's almost like every little reflection of like what I already do, but in a completely unique way. Yeah. And it's almost like I think in some weird way, I guess I don't know. I couldn't say from comparison, but it feels like to me, guitar feels like the most challenging and versatile instrument. Like that's kind of, I think what I've always gathered is like all the other instruments are like really phenomenal in their own right, and I would love to learn pretty much all of them. But for some reason, guitar seems to be like the most challenging, and again, the most versatile and diverse instrument that exists. Where it's like there's so many ways that you can play different styles of guitar and incorporate guitar, and it's also, I guess, maybe it's like a most universally received, up there with piano. But the idea is, yeah, I almost feel like Guitar feels like the most difficult. So I feel like once I master guitar, then I'll feel very, very comfortable to just like dive fully into other instruments. Or maybe before that, but all right. Probably gonna put a freeze on this for now. Nice, 11, 11, 12. I gotta use the washroom, but yeah, I'm going to do a roving stream at some point very soon. That was a good success, honestly. After like 5 hours sleep, I feel great. Musically, it's like this was a success. I feel like I'm slowly warming up this flow. But yes, thank you so much for chiming in. Much love, bless. I'll be back after these messages. Peace.